Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to dive right in and completely redefine a word you probably use, well, all the time, research. By the time we wrap up today, I promise you're going to see this concept in a totally new, empowering light. We're stepping out of the ordinary, everyday definition and jumping into a genuine intellectual adventure.
So let me hit you with a bit of a provocative question to kick things off. Is searching online actually research? Think about it for a second. When you need to know something, you crack open a browser, type a query into a search engine, maybe skim a few articles, compile some facts into a document, and you probably call it doing your research, right? But does that process, simply Googling a topic and gathering up existing information, actually count as true scientific research?
Well, there's actually a pretty stark contrast here. You see, searching online is simply the act of compiling facts that are already known to the world. It's essentially gathering up other people's homework. Scientific research, on the other hand, is fundamentally different. It's about discovering entirely unknown facts and tackling questions that currently have no solution whatsoever. Finding what someone else has already solved, that's just searching. True research absolutely demands that you address something completely unknown to society.
At its core, it is a journey from the unknown to the known. I literally love this metaphor. You aren't just memorizing a map that someone else drew, you're the explorer sailing right off the edge of that map to chart entirely new territory. It's a journey from a real problem to a brand new solution. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. The unknown to the known. 2. Searching is not researching. 3. The two pillars of research. 4. Real-world research action, and 5, finding your research question.
Let's start with Section 1, the unknown to the known, charting the intellectual map. Formally speaking, research is a systematic process of learning that eventually increases overall knowledge by solving an unknown problem. And really, the entire secret of what makes someone a scientist or an innovator is hidden right there in that definition. It's not just some accidental discovery, it is a highly deliberate process that results in a net increase in the world's knowledge.
Moving right along to Section 2, searching is not researching, the critical difference between learning and creating.
It's super important to clarify what research is not. It is not just submitting a compiled document of facts. It's not searching across existing platforms, and it's certainly not just learning an already solved answer. Now, don't get me wrong, learning existing facts is wonderful and totally necessary, but true research means injecting entirely new knowledge into society. Even if it's minor, your contribution has to be novel. It must be something that, before you did the heavy lifting, was totally unknown to the rest of the world.
Which brings us to Section 3, the two pillars of research, systematic learning and increasing knowledge.
So the crucial point is that how you find new knowledge matters just as much as what you find. And that brings us to the first pillar, being systematic. You can't just guess or use unverified methods and hope for the best. You have to adopt proven methods, authentic tools, and reliable procedures that are already reported in the literature. For the scientific community to actually accept your results, the process you use to get them has to be rock solid.
All right, Section 4, Real-World Research Action, from food surveys to ultrasonic waves.
Let's take this out of the abstract and start with something totally relatable, a community food survey. Imagine you're observing a specific geographic area to figure out localized taste preferences that literally no one has ever formally documented before. You distribute a carefully crafted questionnaire to the locals, you analyze the data, and you draw conclusions about their preferences. By addressing an unknown using systematic tools, boom, you've just added brand new sociological knowledge to society. And this brilliantly illustrates the other end of the spectrum too, like in chemistry. In the field of green solvents, researchers face this massive inefficiency. Synthesizing certain liquids at room temperature used to take an agonizing 14 to 15 days. But by applying critical thinking, researchers invented a brand new methodology using ultrasonic waves.
And that 14-day wait, it plummeted to just 40 minutes. To put that into perspective, that is a massive, game-changing reduction. It visually quantifies how inventing a new methodology literally changes what is scientifically possible. They took an unknown problem, applied systematic tools, and fundamentally advanced their entire field.
And you know, this process definitely doesn't just stop in a chemistry lab. Think about digital cameras, social networks, advanced electronics, global location systems. Every single convenience we rely on day in and day out was born from this exact kind of research. They all started out as an unknown problem until someone systematically rolled up their sleeves and worked to invent a new solution.
Finally, Section 5, finding your research question, the final phase of the journey.
So how do you actually find your own uncharted territory? Well, you start by identifying a problem through critical thinking. Then, and this is a vital, honestly, kind of surprising step, you actually want to spend a solid 10 to 15 days just refining that single research question. Before you do any practical work at all, your question has to be crystal clear. Only then do you choose your systematic tools and execute your plan to find the solution.
And honestly, I want to leave you with this incredibly empowering realization. When you shift into researcher mode and ask a truly novel question, even your supervisor doesn't know the answer. You are the person who is going to solve that problem. You can't find the answer in a newspaper, you can't just Google it, and your mentors don't have the answer key hidden away either. True research is an intellectual adventure into uncharted territory for everyone involved. You literally become the leading expert in the world on that specific unsolved problem.
So as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to toss the ball into your court. Armed with the knowledge that true research is a systematic journey from the unknown to the known, what unknown problem are you going to solve? It's time to step out of student mode, embrace your inner researcher, and start adding entirely new knowledge to the world. Thanks so much for exploring this with me.